Yes, we have no bananas.
We have no bananas today.
Can't be how we start the episode.
It has to be.
Well,
hello, welcome to the tripod.
We've already
guys.
begun it.
Wow.
It's a classic song.
Hey, everybody, welcome. Today we're talking about Second Try.
What the hell was that?
What was what?
Your funny little high voice.
I don't know what
It
you're
sounded
talking
like
about.
you were a little robot working you inside from control.
If you play it back, I'll be slow and low pitch, so I don't know.
You were like, you were scumming while you did it.
Oh, he was not scumming. He was
No, I scam.
He was scammed.
Go ahead.
I was going to talk about, before we get into the episode, today we're talking, hey everybody, talking about Second Try. These are things we've learned. These are things we got wrong in launching.
Mistakes.
We're 2 months in.
We're coming out with all of our mistakes. What we fucked up. What we freaking fucked up.
I'm excited to hear him, and I've got some notes myself.
We're 2 months in. We've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
We haven't done everything right. We want to talk about what we think we did right, what we think we can do better, things that we're learning along the way.
Yeah, that's right.
I was going to talk about Ritz crackers too.
You were also going to talk about Ritz crackers.
Oh, lots of sand Ritz.
I don't know if we should start there. It's going to kind of derail.
You've got nuts and you've got crackers.
Well, I'll say that.
You're ready to have the driest mouth there ever was.
Well, he's got
or-
the LaCroix pure.
But that's bubble
The
water,
LaCroix.
which is
LaCroix.
also going to tickle. It's going to tickle him.
I just don't understand how Ritzies are so creamy.
They're buttery and they're creamy.
I got to tell you, I was eating saltines the other day, and they were good.
What were you telling everyone who would listen?
You think so? Sorry, you're saying the saltines have a fucking goddamn chance in the Cracker
No.
Wars?
I'm just saying, you guys,
Cracker Wars.
Let's go the Civil War.
they're good. They're way better than we like to think. They're not just for sick people anymore.
That's what he was saying to everyone. Everyone was like, "You're eating saltines." He goes, "Not just for sick people anymore."
I just so closely associate it with vomiting that I don't think I could ever.
But if you got to give them a chance when you're not vomiting.
They're not too bad, but they've got to be salty. The thing about a Ritz is it's a butter. It's creamy.
it's so
crazy.
creamy.
I'm eating this right now, and it's insane that it's not buttered.
Ritz are creamy. That's merch.
Ritz are creamy.
It's crazy.
The thing is, the saltine, I actually like. So what I don't like about Ritz is they leave like a oily, filmy something in your mouth.
On your fingy too.
But the saltines, they don't do that.
They go in dry.
Because there's nothing in them.
Just like Zach.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Miles.
Zach just agreed,
Was it a sexual thing that I wasn't picking up on?
He said he'd go in dry.
just like Zach.
Okay.
Miles. Are you ashamed?
I don't even know what that means.
I want to tell you that when we when we title episodes like these, we do get an audience that's here for intellectual conversation.
And they get what the tripod is.
No,
Now-
they get what they're about.
Disorganized chaos that's hilarious.
Sometimes.
8 times out of 20.
That's a good. Honestly, that's not a bad ratio.
It's a tagline.
That's better than most baseball batters.
I was thinking if we were baseball players, we'd be Babe Ruth.
Oh, that's a batting 400. That's good.
Okay, Mr. Genius Math Man.
Yeah, last episode you really were.
Well,
showing off
I
your
actually
brilliance.
I literally said the thing was for area. It's not. Area of a triangle is just half A times B, right?
Huh?
God, you're so cool.
I did want to talk about LaCroix because I was remembering that when I was in college, I really wanted to date a lacrosse boy, so I could say lacrosse boy, LaCroix girl in an Instagram caption.
Oh, that would
Oh,
fucking
that's
kill.
nice. That's a really
Yeah.
good post.
And by the way,
Yeah.
Rainie, it's not too late.
A hobbyist, a LaCroix for fun, or lacrosse for fun.
that's like a 40%.
LaCroix
That's
for
a
fun.
40% like ratio. Followers to likes, I think. Lacrosse boy, LaCroix girl.
A brilliant caption, but that life event that
It
didn't
would be
follow.
like you sipping a LaCroix at his game.
Oh, fuck. Usually I don't like a post because of a caption. It's the photo.
Oh, really?
That one would put me over the edge.
Yeah, I'm liking for captions all the time. Sometimes people post on stories, and I'm like, I don't know this person. It's weird for me to like it, but that was a good story, and I'm gonna give it a little double
You
tap.
story like?
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's
You tap that little
yeah.
heart.
If I like it,
Only if I know the person pretty well will I like a story.
Now name one of the stories I've posted lately that you liked.
Oh, nothing's coming to mind. What's the story you posted you're proud of recently?
I went to a ramen place that had a big bowl on
Yeah,
it.
what was-
and
was
you-
that yesterday
You
for
lifted the
real?
bowl. No, it was 2 days ago.
I'm about to say, because I was like, there's no way he got ramen that quickly after work yesterday.
no,
It was
it's
that fancy.
I think I was peeing, and I took my phone out and I said,
Oh, I got to post my ramen smoke.
yeah.
Ramen smoke?
It was a big bowl, like a terrarium that you lifted, and a lot of smoke cleared to
What?
reveal your bowl of ramen.
Why is that what that place does?
Pizzazz.
It's all about that zazz, Keith.
That's Zaza.
Because I'm all about that zazz. About that
Zazz,
zazz with
no trouble.
ramen.
Oh, very nice.
Pretty good. Making trainer much?
Yeah.
Well, let's get into this.
Yeah.
Let's get into this.
I mean, you guys launched the fucker. What was the first sign that you thought you had made a mistake?
Day one.
Day one?
We were here in this office recording a podcast, so excited for the launch, and we said, hey guys, we got to go right now. Turns out our first episode was hours late.
Yeah.
And that was because mistake number one is that we did not know that our new platform takes a long, long time
For 4K uploads.
to process 4K.
We had only been going off of the
1080.
HD uploads because of our previous catalog uploading, because we were doing everything, and a lot of those are just HD. They're not 4K. Now some were, but because we had months to upload them, we weren't like looking at the how much time each one took.
Totally.
And so we thought, and the HD uploads take like 10 to 20 minutes. But the 4K uploads, they don't just take twice as long. They take like 10 to 20 times as long.
Exponentially.
Really?
Way longer.
So here's the cool takeaway. We got 4K episodes over on
Yeah.
Second Try. You can see us. You can see every pore of this body.
And even the back catalog is much better looking because we're uploading our raw files, and they don't go through the compression that YouTube does.
Oh, right.
So they have
YouTube compression sucks.
It's
You don't
really
realize
intense, Yeah.
Yeah.
it. And it's because
I don't actually look like this if you're watching me on YouTube. I look way handsomer.
Way cooler.
Way cooler, way cooler,
Cooler.
and way handsomer.
That's so got it. Yeah, I remember when that happened, and I saw the story. You guys made a funny story about it, or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I bet though they're like, fuck, we should upload it earlier. Were you guys just like,
I was livid.
yeah,
it was-
I was no, live is wrong. I was freaking out.
Yeah, it
'cause
was.
you're like,
It
this is
was
the
just like,
first.
oh fuck.
yeah, and then there's nothing to do but wait.
Yeah. So what we did actually, we just uploaded a lower resolution version and then swapped it overnight, which is something we do sometimes when we have to.
Oh, that's nice. So the lower resolution version did go live sooner than the 4K one
Yeah.
published. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind
But
of cool.
it was this thing where we kept waiting and being like, well, it's got to be any minute now.
Yeah.
And if we cancel it, then who knows how long the 1081 will take. So we got to keep going.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually it was like, this is insane. Cancel it. It was bad. So the first learning, one, there's a tech learning there, but scheduling matters. And it's really important that when you say something comes out, that thing has got to come out. I feared a lot that on the first day we had severed trust, right? The most important thing that we have is habits, building habits, so people know when to open the app, but also that they trust that we're doing what we do. Another part of why the 4K takes so long is that it uploads, but then it processes for TV,
Right.
process for your phone. You are able to, we've never really advertised this. You can watch our stuff offline. You can download the episodes on the app on your phone. So like if you have a flight coming up, you can download them all. But that's part of why.
Right. Okay, cool. Gotcha. That's a big learning to have day one.
Yeah, but it helped us. I think when you have those big learnings and you're stressed out by them, makes you not make those mistakes as often.
Oh,
Yeah.
completely.
Because you're like, well, I don't want to do that. But our audience, to their credit, was very gracious. Of course, there were going to be issues in the first week. It's new. It's big. We're learning, and I think what's good is we were like, hey, we fucked up. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Just be clear about when you make a mistake as quick as you can, and fix it as quick as you can.
Yeah. And communication. I'd say that's been one of the biggest learnings overall is just trying to be open with communication, overly communicate, let people know what we're doing and why. Something that's been really fascinating is looking at views on YouTube compared to Second Try.
Right.
Because we've been releasing episodes on YouTube. And I put out a whole series of stories about this, looking at our month one stats. The most watched, it was, okay, the number 1 and number 5 most watched episodes on Second Try are 2 of the lowest viewed videos on YouTube from the last 3+ months.
That's so interesting because it is exactly what your prediction was, which is just like the things that people want to watch are being underserved to the massive audience on YouTube.
Yeah, I think the things that are most dedicated audience really loves
Yeah.
is what doesn't do well on YouTube. And what it's also like the thing our dedicated audience loves is what we built our company on.
Right.
And we want to keep delivering that kind of great content, but it just doesn't fit the ever-changing algorithmic scope of YouTube. It doesn't mean that we aren't going to we're always going to be trying to make great stuff for YouTube and great stuff for the core audience and doing everything well. But it does prove to us that there's this really valuable stuff that we're making to people that isn't served by the platform we've existed on for the last 10 years.
I'm curious now that we're what 2 months in, if you can guess what is the most watched episode and what has the highest watch time of any episode.
I feel like watch time has to be color guard.
No.
Okay.
Really?
And actually, I might be lying watch time because there's our live specials that obviously have the highest watch time. So we'll go by highest percentage of completion.
Yeah, the Without a Recipe and the Romeo and Juliet have some long.
Well, yeah, because they're long.
They're long.
Streams.
Most and rather not completion. We get a stat for views and then also for completed the entire episode. Because sometimes people will watch 2/3 of an episode and then something happens and they never stop. So the video that's been watched the most and the video that's been completed the most.
I feel like completed might be Escape the Kitchen. Am I wrong about that?
It's up there, but no.
Okay, interesting.
It's the Try Guys lie detector episode.
Oh, really?
People love that episode.
People love that's
we
great.
all love the lie detector silliness, don't we?
fun.
It's fun.
It's fun. That was a fun day.
And then the most viewed episode right now is the first episode of Trolley Problems.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Great.
amazing.
Toes.
Toes.
Oh, because
Oh,
they
yeah,
see
you
you got
gotta
your
be-
toe sucked.
Yeah.
I don't think that's why.
I think it's definitely why.
Yeah.
You got the toe community in there.
And literally, the episode's called "Show Me Them Piggies." It's very toe forward. It's foot forward.
Toward.
Put one foot forward.
Really nice.
Toward. Toward. Wow.
Toward.
That's merch.
That's merch. Toward.
TOEWARD.
Toward.
Toe dash ward.
And the D is a toe.
And I've been in the toe ward before
You won the toe
to
ward?
fix my toe. No, I
Oh,
went
you
to
went
toe
to
ward.
ward.
Yeah.
You broke your toe?
Yeah.
I rolled my ankle at a clown show.
That's hilarious.
It was funny. I didn't tell anyone I broke it.
Was there a doctor clown that you could have talked
Oh,
to
there
as well?
should have been. No, I leaped and I landed on it so fucking bad, and I immediately knew I had totally fucked it up.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, fuck, but I can keep going.
No, I totally did. I just was like, and I just didn't, and I continued to perform.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You gotta sometimes.
Escape the Kitchen, though, is, I think, a good guess because that's a show that is crushing on second try. People love it. Is so fucking funny. And if you're listening to this and you have not given Second Try a chance, like, I'm telling you, just go get that free trial. Watch that show. It's your new favorite show.
It's
so
good. Also, what I love about all the new shows is all the new shows really feature the breadth of our talent super well. So you're getting to see lots of faces, getting to know our cast more, see how funny they are.
Miles in Escape the Kitchen with him and Quasi.
That episode is
Unreal.
so freaking funny. When you're just screaming "fuck you" to the kitchen, it made me laugh so hard. And it's you and Quasi. It couldn't imagine two better tornadoes to release into that space and cut in between the two of you screaming.
That was so fun. I love that show.
Yeah.
Jared Popkins' mom has said that's her favorite show, and she watches the episodes that he's not in.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
big.
wow.
That's huge.
Oh, that's a
That's
great
big.
compliment. Well, it's also such a rewarding, like, because you're wondering how it will change, like episode to episode and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, how will the puzzle of it
The
change?
conveyor belt.
Yeah.
God is so funny in that.
But you look at that, like the first episode or the first episode this season that we released is doing okay on YouTube.
Not bad,
Not bad.
but not great. And it should do great because it's so good and so fun.
Yeah.
And just doesn't pop off over there on the tubes.
Number three.
Number three.
Is about this idea of daily habits. So our biggest goal right now is to get people to use the app, to love the app, to want to use Second Try as much as possible. That's why we encourage, if you haven't heard me say this, we encourage password sharing. I dare you to find the limit on how many friends and devices
Well,
you
I
can
don't
share it
dare
on.
you.
I dare you.
Dang.
I dare
Okay.
you to get that free trial and have you and 2 to 5 of your friends share that.
I've been selling my password for $1.99 a month.
That's a good price.
As you should.
Yeah.
And honestly, like here's the reason why we are okay with password sharing, because if that means that you are going to use and love this app with your friends, that means you're going to use it longer. That means you're going to be supporting us for a longer time. That is to our benefit. We want you to love what we make and to get to a point where you can't imagine life without it. And so if the way for you to do that is like, hey, you pay for Second Try, your friend pays for Hulu, I get that. I do that with my friends too. So our goal is to make opening the app as regular as possible, to have the shows, to know when they're coming out. I think we've done a bad job there.
Oh, interesting.
I think that, so we on YouTube have been Wednesday, Saturday for the longest time. And we started doing different release days, different release times. We started experimenting with smoke shows like, that's naughty. What if we do that Friday night? Like, what if this comes out on Tuesday instead of Wednesday? And as a result, I think that has created an uncertainty where people don't actually, they haven't been able to build those habits. Right now, there's like Escape the Kitchen comes out on Tuesdays, but Try Guys comes out on Wednesdays. And like, no one knows that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're looking at and changing as we move forward, because I think ultimately it's better for people to have their rituals around what day they watch as opposed to us getting all fancy with it.
And I can explain for some inside baseball. People sometimes, they've said they like to hear about like why we do the decisions we do. Well, we have a staff that works their normal like 9 to 5, 9 to 6 here hours because we do a lunch break. And things go up on the weekend, and for things to come out on Monday, it means they have to be done and packaged by Friday. It's just like we really try to find what is the healthiest way to get these videos online that don't require people to work on off hours, that don't. And it's a big juggling act, and there's lots of times that our post team does have to stay late and fix something at the very end of the day on Friday. So trying to create a release schedule that allows for as much work to be done only in the designated work hours as possible, that's the goal, right? But media exports having a glitch, like things can go wrong, and that's going to happen. But we really want to build a schedule that allows for people to comfortably do their jobs when they're supposed to be doing their jobs. So that's why like Wednesday and Saturday even is a thing, because that gives you 2 days on either side of each release during the work week to do it. But if we have more releases on Second Try, we don't want to have everything. You don't want the things to come out at the same time everywhere. It's just hard to message like, okay, this video is on YouTube right now, but this video is on Second Try right now, and this video is. So that is the juggling act and the puzzle we're trying to solve and will solve, but I don't know how quickly we will.
And it's also like, so we have our social posts, right? Like if an episode comes out on Second Try, you publish it on Instagram. Well, okay, if you have one episode come out on Second Try, but a different video comes out on YouTube, and they both come out at the same time at the same day, now it's like, well, what are we promoting? It's a little convoluted. So one option is to change the YouTube release day. It also, just by virtue of the fact that since the beginning of our company, we've posted videos on Saturdays, and we made that a habit. Oops. Because now that means that maybe someone has to work on Saturday. Social team has to schedule posts on the weekend. What if there's a problem with the video? Then someone has to work on Saturday. We need to be tapped in on Saturday. We're trying to rest. It's something that it just is the way that we've been doing it for a long time. And damn, oh damn, do I regret it.
Yeah, and maybe we can do a big shift, but that will be hard because we have taught the YouTube audience for
Saturdays
for 6 years that it's Wednesday and Saturday.
How have you, with the social posting of it all, just so I can learn more.
Of course.
What is the mentality of, so you're posting when stuff comes out on the app on social and when stuff comes out on YouTube.
Right.
How have you balanced which one you post if they're both coming out at the same time?
Kaylin?
Yeah, well, so what the social team does well is Kaylin and Aiko build these little newsletter.
Maddie.
Oh, yeah, and Maddie, of course, do these little newsletter things at the top of each week, which says, like, what's coming out this week. So you get almost like a TV guide kind of approach to, like, hey, this stuff's coming out, and we have what day and what time. So we let people know on Monday, this is what's coming out this week. Yeah. So that we can focus our attention more on the Second Try releases on the Wednesday and Saturday, and make sure that later on that Wednesday and Saturday, there's a scheduled post that sends to the YouTube audience. But right now, we're trying to change our company to operate more on Second Try, and because we see that as a better experience, and also it's a better plan for our company to thrive and succeed for longer. So we are focusing our efforts more toward that, right? And those audience members are paying, so we're really trying to focus our energy toward them. because those people are giving us and helping us directly. The other audience members are absolutely helping us by watching ads and watching videos with ads. You are definitely helping our company, but with where we're trying to go with our company, the second try stuff makes more sense. So we promote that first.
Yeah, and usually it's just like if we do stories, we'll do them back to back. So here's what's on second try. Here's what's on YouTube. If we're putting, a meme poster or videos
A
on
meme post?
meme.
I mean,
A
if we're
mean
doing
post.
something
If it's a
really
mean post about Zach or
Snarky
something.
little tweet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
snarky
This
little.
guy sucks.
watch second try. He doesn't want you to see it.
It's just me like hiding the screen. We'll probably prioritize in the first hour whatever's on second try, and then later that afternoon do what's on YouTube.
I have a question for you. Has this what's the word? Has this distracted from or prevented any of the 1 out of 10, 10 out of 10 anxiety that you feel on
Yeah.
YouTube, having a different arm of your business? Or is it the exact same, you just have more irons in the fire?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
This is a point that I was going to touch on later, but YouTube, I just want to clarify, is as important as ever. And it actually, YouTube is where a huge amount of our audience lives, but it's also where we're going to find new people to enter into the second try ecosystem. So when you look at one of the things that we've done wrong is I think that we were so focused on making the best episodes possible. Escape the Kitchen, those are all excellent. I wouldn't change a thing about the episodes, except we didn't in that process stop to think, how are we going to market this on YouTube? So Instagram posts do some of the work, but actually it's the algorithm that picks it up. The quality of the title and thumbnail and the clickability and the watch time and all that garbage. So, so we would have been better served making sure that one of the clues in Escape the Kitchen was a super visual clickable moment that we could translate into a thumbnail. Because if we don't have things, if we don't have outliers that do really well on a different platform, then we're never going to be able to grow second try.
Right.
And we see that in the blips and spikes in when people are subscribing, or rather the lack of spikes. So you look at Dropout Strategy. They have all of these viral TikToks and short forms. You need dozens of those before someone actually has the intent to get a subscription.
Intent to sub.
Intent to sub. We call it the ITS. It's one of the mistakes that we've made is I don't think that our current offering of content has thought through the end process enough of how do we make this also the best thing for YouTube? How do we also make this the best thing for TikTok and Shorts so that we can show the world, look how great this is. Come on over.
Yeah. I mean, we've made the videos excellent, but that doesn't mean they're optimized to be found. That's the real things. Like I
Right.
think the videos on YouTube are better. The episodes we're making are better because we took 3 months to not make videos because the title and thumbnail would be great on YouTube, but because the meat of the episode and the meat of the show is good. However, that doesn't work with the marketing side of YouTube and what we need YouTube to serve for our company. So now we have to find how we do both. But I mean, I don't fully, I mean, like we did that wrong, but I think it was a necessary thing to do to allow ourselves to creatively focus just on making the good content.
I agree.
And not be so consumed with how will people, what image in 7 words can I make sure entrap millions of people to watch it? Because the whole reason of doing this was to focus more on making good content and less on clickable content. But we do need to find a way to do both.
So the conventional YouTube wisdom right now would be really workshop a title and thumbnail, make it perfect, and now figure out what that video is. Well, we don't do that, and when we tried to do that, it sucked. So what we're doing is making really great shows, but now we need to build in a process where we look at this thing that we've made and make sure that we're stress testing it so that we can market it as wide as possible.
Very
And
interesting.
that's the sauce.
And that's the second try tea.
So we've touched on some of them already, these learnings. This week on Second Try, those posts were a big learning because people understandably wanted to know what the heck is even going on this, right? That was something that we learned pretty quickly. And we also added programmatic information on the actual website. So instead of just having banners, having when those shows post. Seems really obvious, but
Yeah.
we didn't have that.
Yep. And I think what's also been great is making banners and specialty things for stuff within Second Try. So when you're within the app, also the app is helping you find stuff you want to watch and helping like and even just like, oh, this episode of this show needs its own banner. This episode features different people. We need to see that person to know. So I land on the site and I see a big banner that shows Miles is in this episode of Escape the Kitchen, not just there's another episode of Escape the Kitchen, but like, oh, I want to watch Miles do this. And so we're just making a lot more assets and graphical assets than I think we initially thought we would need to, but it's all been good. It helps populate the site. It makes the site change more, which is exciting for everybody. So every time you open it, it's serving you something new, serving you something that you want to watch, hopefully, and then even making playlists that feature our different casts, so people can be like, I really want to watch more Miles stuff. There's a place for them to do that,
right?
And then also releasing those playlists throughout the fall, so that you're not just dumped like 8 all at once, but this week there's a bunch of crazy stuff. I do want to watch some crazy stuff. So that. And just like, because there is a ton of content already on there, like everything we've made for the most part is on there, but you don't necessarily see that in that first drop down. It's going to serve you the stuff that's new. So how do we make fun ways to show people stuff that's already there that they would like to watch? Maybe videos they've missed, maybe videos they love. How can we better get those in front of people so they see the value very easily?
Are you going to make little like sexy playlists that are like,
we got some sexy playlists
that are sort of like, Halloween spooky one.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do.
Get ready for Flag Day. Here's some Flag Day videos.
Spooky or Kooky is probably the name of the playlist. We'll do.
And it's cookie stuff. Come on,
cookie stuff and spooky stuff.
Okay.
Without a recipe, cookies, Halloween costume try on.
I love that.
Great idea.
And that can run all the way from October to December.
Not at all.
There's probably a candy competition that could fit in there somewhere.
I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Candy competition cookie?
Have you guys not done cookie cakes yet?
It's a great question.
That's a really good question. I guess that's pretty similar to cake.
Yeah, but so are all the other cake ones we've done.
No.
That's a good point. Best custom cookie?
I'd say
Maybe playing the hits.
all the first season are exactly the same. They're like, who can make my face on a sandwich?
Sandwich pizza cake.
They're all the same.
Yeah, and with that, we're still like, we'll be tweaking it constantly and also want feedback as to what's the best way to communicate all this information, right? Like, we're playing with email lists and different emails and seeing, we don't want to overwhelm people with emails. Is it better to find out when a video comes out? Do you want an email top of the week that tells you everything that's coming? Or do you want an email end of the week that tells you everything that did come out? We are playing with push notifications. What actually gets you excited to open the app and isn't annoying? Because I know I get annoyed if I get too many push notifications. So these are all things we're trying to tweak, and it's going to just be experimenting to figure out what is the best experience.
It's interesting because I guess what we're realizing is we're learning how to run a network rather than just running a channel.
Yeah.
But we've always been trying to be a network of channeled programming, but now because we have our own space and it's not just about like, how do I make people see my stuff within YouTube? It's like, how do people see my stuff within my stuff?
Right.
Yeah,
how
all
do
the stuff.
Yeah, like there's all this. How do I make sure people see what they want to see? How do I make that stuff look as appealing as it is? How do I make it feel different from YouTube as well? We're learning what it's like to be Netflix.
That is interesting because I also noticed that you guys on the videos you don't use the YouTube thumbs for the videos. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's really interesting. I was like, well, but they are making thumbs for these videos, but you're intentionally not doing them because maybe it's like to put it in a YouTube-y thummy thing is to get that grabbiness.
Yeah. We want to feel different.
Yeah.
We wanted to feel less like we're trying to trick you into watching videos. We know you're already there and you want to watch watch it. So I want to show you just a really interesting still from that video that captures your attention, not something that Zach and I spent a few hours texting back and forth and gaming toward a system of making this stick out against other people's videos.
Right.
I just want you to know who's in it and how fun it's going to be. Something we did do though is we added little borders to all of them just to help have a different color, so so subliminally, you know what show it is of. Yeah. Because we realized, because we shoot all these shows here, just stills might just look like they could look like any video. So how do we just do a little bit of a layer to help you see like, oh, this is specifically Escape the Kitchen, although Escape the Kitchen is on the same set for the most part as Phoning It In Without a Recipe, other kitchen shows that we've made. So like, can we just do a little tweaking to help a little bit that you know that this is specifically this kitchen show?
Yeah. I mean, so to answer directly also, the decision to do stills over thumbnails, that's just taste. Like that's just, when I look at all of the streaming platforms that I use, they don't use YouTube thumbnails. You have posters, and we design show posters that are really sick, and those go on like the banner up top. And actually, we updated the app, so now they're like tall posters. Just makes me really happy.
Posters. A lot of people still watch on their phone, so
which also you can cast from your phone to your TV, which is sick.
Cool.
Oh, that's really cool.
when you're doing that, you can jump out of the app and scroll on Instagram, and it works completely fine.
That's actually big.
It works completely perfectly.
That's really good.
So you can.
I have one of the TVs that we don't have. I think, what do I have? An LG, and we don't have an app on LG, which it's upsetting, but it's not our fault.
Yeah.
It's not up to us. But like, I can still cast on my TV, and it looks sick.
And I can like text. I can do other stuff on my phone. Well, so it doesn't interrupt. Like if Becky and I are watching it, I can still like, and I've already seen it because obviously we made it. I gave notes on on it, but I can like do whatever I want on my phone.
Yeah, but we looked at. I mean, first of all, when we first put it up, we tried with YouTube thumbnails, and immediately it was like, blah, I hate this. It's more of what I don't like, and more, for us to create an ecosystem that we're saying we're not going to be doing the bullshit that is chasing you away. Using the YouTube thumbnails is what's chasing you away. There also are just other companies that are like, we're not the only ones who have our own app. There are others who use YouTube thumbnails, and I just hate how it looks. Yeah. So on the app, on the first days, we, like when the tripod went up, we had the YouTube thumbnail, and we looked at that and we're like, no, we gotta figure something else.
Right.
And then as Keith was saying, we got feedback where we have Smoke Show, whatever. Try Mushrooms, which if you haven't watched, hilarious.
It's a blast.
And we got the feedback. People were like, I don't know what shows what. We have the playlist, but in new releases, I don't know. So we added a little dot. But that wasn't enough. Then we did the border, and now finally we realized, if we add the logo in the lower left corner, that is a branding way. I did put in a programming request to see if we could have like a little line in gray underneath that tells you the show, and then you could click through to that to the playlist. But it's a tech thing that will take a year if we ever get that. Sure. But yeah, it's that, and that came from direct feedback of people being like, I want to know what show it is the second I see it, and absolutely, you are right.
Yep.
Dropout doesn't do that, but I think because they have such a distinct visual style to each of their shows, you don't really need it.
And as we grow, like
we
know, like Trolley Problems looks like Trolley Problems because it has a set. The set is like sort of like simple, but it at least has a set.
Distinct, yeah.
Like the Common Sense season will be coming out somewhat soon. It has a set, so it kind of has a look. So the more success we have, the more we'll be able to like allocate budgets to making stuff look more unique and specific. That will also eventually help.
Yeah.
I have a sort of an overarching question about the project as a whole, because you guys, so first of all, you guys started this company, first of all, as a team of 4 instead of as a team of 2. And also
team of 3, yeah.
As a team of 3. And also like you made your fame and fortune through like the clickable.
Don't tell them about my treasure.
Through the sort of like clickable, like grabby YouTube, like you guys kind of figured out the algorithm. So I'm wondering, so now you've got a whole nother project or a whole nother sort of stint of your company's legacy. Like how have you guys changed? Like how is working together, and what's the behind the scenes of your relationship as you're working to get the streamer up? Like have you guys learned about one another? Have you guys like, I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting.
Have we learned about each other specifically through this experience? I don't know. I think Keith and I have always worked really well together from the beginning, and that is the only way that something like this is possible. It requires a shared vision and a trust, and both of us aligning on that vision, and like, I know that if I'm not available, I trust the decisions he's making because we have a shared true north.
Right.
We know what direction we're going. I've said this before, I think, on the show, but overall, I think like our jobs as CEOs ultimately is just to know what direction we're going and then get everyone to row in that direction with us. We're drumming the beat at the top of the boat, and getting everyone to row with us.
Sometimes we hopping on the oars as well.
And sometimes
Grabbing the freaking oar as well. Like, okay, everybody, we're jumping in. Oh, we all gotta push.
What are you sort of in charge of, and what are you in charge of in terms of the collaboration?
I don't know.
You're the outside boss. You're the indoor boss.
yes.
It's tough because like we do lots and lots of things, and we're always jumping back and forth on each side of what needs to be done. But in general, I think I might actually land more on still some of the YouTube stuff, more than the second try stuff, only because the formats. I handle a lot of the formats that do well on YouTube. A lot of them are eating based,
right?
and I'm bad at that.
It's not necessarily true. It's just like the formats that I've already been making have continued to have success on YouTube. But like something you said earlier is like we were able to understand how to work the algorithm on YouTube. That is true, but the algorithm was different. So when we were skyrocketing to fame, we had a couple things working for us. YouTube wanted longer content. We also came over and brought an audience from another place to our own channel, which artificially grew our channel faster than a channel should grow.
Right.
Because we did not start with 5,000 and then 7,000 and then 15,000 and 30, then 100, then a million. We just jumped to 2 million in like 2 months, and then 3 million 3 months after that. And like we grew faster than an average person or even an exceptional person on the platform probably would.
Artificially.
Yeah, we grew artificially, but that told the algorithm, this is a rocket ship to Mars.
Right. Yeah.
Give it all the gas we've got.
Quick, serve this video to Dixie D'Amelio.
And so we had a lot of success. And there are videos on our channel that have 16 million views. And there are videos that like we would regularly get 1 million views in 24 hours. Sometimes we get 1 million views in 12 hours. Sometimes we get 1 million views in 4 hours. And it was because of that snowball effect of things doing well. So the next thing did better, and then the next thing did better, and then the next thing did better. We were kind of like invincible. I remember even saying, it's like, we can put anything out there and it'll make 1 million views. Now, that's not the case anymore. But so like that was what was happening now. As the time shifted, as other things happened to our company, we had to come up with something new. But as to what we do now, I mean, it's a lot of just communication back and forth on what's happening and reacting all the time to make something better, to change something that's not working, to still test new stuff. Also, to find cool opportunities for videos we think are cool that we know may not do well, but they serve an audience or they serve our own good time. Like some of it is like greedily like doing something that I think is fun. And I don't even care if it does well or not because it's fun and I think our audience will like it, but it probably isn't algorithmically successful. And sometimes
It's just
like,
for you.
And sometimes
It's
it's finding
just for
stuff
you.
that I think will do pretty well and it costs very little.
Yeah.
So as a business, like, it'll actually cost very little and it'll do well enough that it actually makes the same amount of money as something that has a lot of effort and is really, really great. So there's a balance of finding stuff that I think there's a lot of people who will like this. I don't think this is going to be super, super successful, but it's cheap to make and it will actually end up netting the same amount as something that's really hard and really amazing.
Or is there something that will be deeply impactful to a smaller group of people, and that, you know, even though it won't go as wide, it will mean so much that we're going to deepen that relationship. There's all sorts of different reasons that you make stuff, and we're just trying to make the best decision. I'll say too, it's helpful to not be responsible for everything, and then to have someone to be like, I don't know, I don't agree, and then you talk about it and you go, okay, cool. Like sometimes I'll say things and then people in the room will be like, I don't know. And I'm like, great, we're not doing it then. Because my job is to make decisions all the time. Doesn't mean I have a strong feeling about every decision I make. I just have to make decisions.
Right.
So looking around and having other people, if someone has a strong conviction, having the, I guess, courage to be wrong, to listen to someone else's conviction, to trust, to surround yourself with people you trust. And then especially, you know, between Keith and I, like, having someone else who can have opinions is really helpful.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who's like, so you guys are obviously, you've been on YouTube for so long, this new streaming service, new venture, but slightly different type of creative in the way you're thinking about shows. So you don't need to try to back end them into some sort of algorithmic thing. How would you, if you were starting a YouTube channel now, or you were giving advice to people who are like, I want to make YouTube videos now, what is advice you would give in the current state of things, knowing what you know about making digital media on that scale?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think if you were making any kind of content on any platform right now, you should be making one thing that you're good at making, that you care about, and you make that. Because something that is a mistake of our company is we make 20 things, and we care about all of them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't teach the algorithm to learn the way that the algorithm likes to learn. The algorithm likes to compare one-to-one, apples to apples all day long. So if your channel is... what's the name of the girl? I love her. She did the Star Wars Hotel
Jenny Nicholson.
thing. Jenny Nicholson. She makes the same thing
Yeah.
to great success.
Yeah.
She makes incredible video essays.
Right.
And that is exactly how YouTube wants to work right now.
Totally.
You make the same thing. They're roughly the same length. They look the same. They are about the same. They have the same energy. That is really good because the audience, it's very consistent. So you should make the same thing that you can make that doesn't burn you out, that makes profit ultimately, and it doesn't confuse your audience or the machine that wants to serve your videos to an audience. So like you just need to identify what it is you like to make and find one also something that probably does well that you can do that. And I would say that's the same for TikTok. That's I don't know what the hell is going on Snapchat nowadays. That's the same for like Instagram. But if you're trying to grow a brand, like every person you can think of who's successful on TikTok, they probably do one thing. Maybe they do two things. Right? Like
Just wait for Jenny Nicholson's dance tutorials. They're gonna blow your mind.
Yeah.
like
No, I
roll
think that's
for
nice.
sandwich.
Yeah.
The D&D sandwich guy.
So good.
The same thing.
Yeah.
And it's great and we want it to be that. I don't want to see him do something else. Or even if I did, the algorithm doesn't.
So he'd have to start his own second
Channel. So a lot of companies do. Like
Right.
Mythical, great example of a multiple channel strategy.
Yeah.
Smosh.
Another great example.
Smosh games,
and that's totally a way you can do it, especially if you have a media company that can crank out enough content to sustain multiple channels.
Yeah.
But like if we did that approach, we'd have 20 channels that each are dark for 10 months of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't work.
Have fun, though.
My advice for you, person watching who wants to make videos on anything, is to identify one really, really good, strong thing you can do for a long time that you feel is fulfilling. And that's probably counterproductive because there probably isn't one thing you can do for a long time that you find fulfilling because most people want to
Do one thing for a little while.
for a little
Yeah.
while.
No, I think that's good. It's like at least you do the one thing until it allows you the freedom to creatively then experiment with what that thing is.
And I mean, honestly, we had a lovely chat
we
on
did.
the drive
Yeah,
down,
that's
and
what I'm
I've
thinking about.
seen you've kind of been leaning toward like trying. The last couple of videos you've
Yes.
had have been very, very entertaining, but they're in one location, and they've kind of delivered a similar view count because I think people are coming to you for your energy and charm. They also like to see you on wacky adventures, but most importantly, it's just you are the thing that draws them in. So if you can find the best way for you to be you in an environment you control and also one that you can make lots of content in that has somewhat of a faster turnaround as well, that's going to be healthier for your success.
No, that's totally, and we were talking about this in the car, but like I'm at a place creatively where I'm like,
Sorry, when were you guys driving in a car without me?
we were
What
having
is
so much
going
fun
on?
and you weren't there.
What is going
It
on?
was just
We
such a
were
blast.
driving to VidCon and
Driving
you
VidCon.
were like, me and Quasi were driving together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys had a whole fun.
Yeah,
other
we
antics.
actually did have a whole fun.
But yeah, I'm sort of like, okay, here are all, I kind of was like, let me splatter a bunch of things at the wall. And now I'm like, okay, what of these things did well? And what of those things that did well would I actually want to invest time in?
Yeah.
And then train the audience, not only the audience of people that are watching the things that I've already put out, but the new audience of like, this is the guy that does this.
Yes.
There's so much
You know?
there that's so important because also, if you're a digital media creator, don't do something you hate.
No, right, exactly.
Like,
Do not
you gotta
do something
love
you
what
can't
you
keep
do.
doing.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. I mean, the early creator stuff, I would say, learn how to do everything. Really study the platforms. Don't overinvest. Don't assume that if I make one perfect project, and I mean that in terms of money, but also time. Don't overinvest your time in one thing because you need to. The next tip, experiment wildly. Try a bunch of different things until something works. But I think ultimately the most important thing that you do as a creator at any stage is
Any stage. Circling back to how we started the episode.
Yeah.
the most important at any stage is community. community. It's
Yes.
understanding your audience and trying to build and grow a place that connection, understanding who they are, what they want, what they mean to each other, what the content means in their lives. That's so important.
Great creator who does it, Sophia.
Oh yeah.
Sophia both does actually not make a lot of videos, but all the videos are very much the same in terms of like their tone and how she presents it and what she's doing. But she's fostered a really great community.
Yeah.
Her merch is very in line with what she makes. She does a lot of engagement and chatting with those people. And because of that, she has been able to create a release system that's way healthier than a lot of other people. She makes one video a month. And they do really, really well because people are excited for that one video because it is going to give them that reliable thing they want from her, which is her exploring some sort of thing where she does all of it, like combining all the lipsticks together or going through an Amazon palette. It is this, it leans into the Eat the Menu, like the everything type of vertical, but she does it in the beauty space, which is a really great space to do it.
And having that trust and that relationship then will allow you to branch out if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that if Sophia's like, hey, I'm going to start making sketches, her audience would be like, yes, girl, we got you. Let's go.
Right.
Because she has built up that trust over a long period of time. And now it's beyond the algorithm, right? It's what we did too. We built up a trust with an audience, and now they are willing to at least give us a chance to prove that a next venture or any next project is worth their attention.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you have any other huge foibles you made a mistake
Oh,
on?
yeah. I'll hit you with two more. Or you got some in your mind?
No, I know what your list is, but it's probably the captions one is next. And that is that it was harder. And also some of the software we had going wasn't as good. But in general, we're really, really trying to be vigilant about making sure there's captions on videos as soon as they go up. But we haven't been able to do that, which sucks.
We hadn't been able to do that, which sucks because it was obviously alienating a part of the audience. But not only that, not only do people who literally need captions need them, but people want them because that's a viewing style that most people use, myself included. So that really sucked in the first couple weeks. We didn't always have captions available on launch, and that devastated us. And it was because as we were kind of ramping up into this big launch, it meant that some of the videos were kind of coming down to the wire. And it turned out that we couldn't it used to be that I actually didn't really realize this. I was not a part of this process in our company. But if captions weren't available, then YouTube has pretty good
captions.
At least serviceable auto captions. But we have episodes that are sometimes an hour long. And that is captioned by a human that can take up to 2 days to turn around. So if an episode had any changes, or let's say right before we post, we look at the QC cut and go, you know what? We should take this part out. Or, oh, you forgot to put the title card up the top. That changes the timing. Now it needs to be resubmitted. And now we're waiting 2 days. So that was just the real lesson was we have to change our workflow. We had a huge all hands where we said, how do we fix this? How do we make sure this never happens again? What are our safeguards? What do we do if, XYZ happens? Just to have all of the plans. We're facing the same issue with the tripod, right? The tripod is an hour long. We're talking all over each other. Not an easy thing to caption. So I mean, kudos to Rainie and Jonathan. We met and we're like, hey, how do we change the work week in a way that doesn't totally screw you guys to get this up earlier and get captions available on second try? It's something we're working on. Or maybe it's available now?
Yeah, it's available.
She did it.
Hell yeah.
She did it. Ladies and gentlemen, Rainie Tull.
Thank you. It was not that easy. But
Yeah.
Hell yeah, baby.
well, I've got a question going back to, it might be too hard to answer, but like you're talking about being at the helm of the ship and like you've got all these people rowing for you and you're trying to tell them the true north. Like, so if you go through like the different departments, like how are you translating that to like, for example, production? Like what are you sort of instilling in them all the way to like social? Like how are you sort of transmitting the message and how does it change through the departments?
That's a great question.
Good question. It's something we're literally, I think, in the midst of trying to be better at. And that is that we have come to realize that especially these new shows we're making, like that are still learning what they are, like like we know how to make Try Guys stuff, right? We've made Try Guys for forever, but like things like Scavenger Hunt and other shows, we really realize that all the departments need to come together before we shoot those to really find out how to make the job better for all departments. What does social need us to make sure we're capturing on set for this? What does post need us? What are the editors from the last time they made one of these? What have they learned that we sucked at or did great at that they want to make sure we fix or do again? How does production hear that to help us figure out how to do that? So there's a lot. All the departments need to talk more than we have been used to them talking, and we need to better enable that communication. I mean, ultimately it's communication, but yeah, like it is tricky. I would say that some of it has been Erica and Devin figuring out how to communicate things across and taking on responsibilities that they initially weren't supposed to take on, and they've done a stellar job doing. But there's a lot of there's so many.
I know. I wish I had
right now.
I wish I had a better answer than just communication. But it is. For us, first of all, us knowing what our goals are and then clearly communicating those goals to everyone and letting people know why we're doing the things we're doing. And that goes all the way back to last year. What was it? End of last year, we told everyone we're going to have some episodes that don't perform as well, and that's okay. And here's why we're doing that. We're going to change. We know that if we start a video this way, it'll perform better on YouTube. We're going to not do that, and here's why.
Right.
So it's just really making sure that everyone's on the same page and executing.
But what's hard right now is like there's every single week, there's always going to be something that needs to change. We can't shoot this video this day. This video can't come out this day anymore. So there's this constant shuffle happening behind the scenes, which is incredible because the whole team has to work together to every time one shuffle happens, whether that is even just something as simple as like shifting the shoot around. Well, maybe the podcasts are now getting shifted around, and then now someone else who was going, like Kaylin, who's going to be working on this, now has to be on set for this social thing. The whole, like I would say, this big old bowl of soup gets stirred up every single freaking day, and by the end of the day, it's like. And then tomorrow, when Nemo comes in, and like stir up the soup again. And it's impressive that we are able to do it. I don't even know how we do it sometimes because literally I feel like Devin and Eric are like, okay, we changed the slate again. Like every single week something else has to move because a sponsor comes in or a sponsor changes or an asset we need to pick up is needed. So like,
I moved something on our release schedule thinking it made a better kind of play
Story.
between second try and YouTube and then not realizing, we actually sold the inventory on the YouTube video, and so it can't move. And first of all, just even that, okay, great. We need to shore up that communication. That's something that that we had messed up. But also now we have to do another pass at this. Yada yada
It
yada.
could even be like these people are on vacation in a month and a half, and we're not going to have the staff we normally have. So if we want to do this, we need to allocate funds for freelancers to do this, or we just need to move this schedule around to allow these people to live their lives. Like, of course, I want to make sure everyone can do that. People need to take vacation.
I'm going on my honeymoon.
Like, but we have to. That means that someone's not here to do that job. So what do we do in that scenario? How much money will we have at that time? Because sometimes you're spending a lot of money on shows before you get that back. So it's a big, giant, like 6 games of chess happening at once. And some of them are stacked on top of each other and some of them are behind you and you're like spinning around trying to make sure everything works.
It's 4 versus 1.
It's 4 versus 1.
There it is. And we're
It's 4 versus 1.
blindfolded.
Yeah, it's impressive that it gets done.
The thing that I imagine most people are the most curious about, and I'm sorry to keep this to the end, which is what actually makes people subscribe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
sure. I'm interested in that.
Who's subscribing and when and how and what have we done wrong there?
Yeah.
So the biggest subscription jump that we got, unsurprisingly, was the launch day,
launch,
right?
right?
That's pretty good. Overall, the answer to this is that there's a difference between acquisition and retention media, meaning what is something that you make that grabs people and what's something that you make that keeps them. In an ideal world, those are the same, but they're not always going to be. And what we found so far is that the things that are keeping people engaged and having the best time like Trolley Problems I mentioned is the most watched, or Escape the Kitchen people are loving. So far, those are not the best acquisition things. They're giving us little bumps, but not the huge ones. And that is in part, I think, because what we talked about earlier, that our marketing strategies of those were not optimized. If it's only seen by 500,000 people, then X% of that says, hey, I want to give it a shot. The smaller that big number is, the less people ultimately go over to the site.
You kind of have to assume that you're going to get 1% of viewers.
I would say less.
to click.
Yeah.
And then 1 to 10% of those people might actually do something. So that's very low percentages. So if you're doing that out of a smaller number to begin with, then your opportunity is low. If you can get 1% of people to click through on a 2 million view video, now you're cooking with something. But if it's a 250K video, that's just not a lot of opportunity for people, or at least a number of people that is going to make a sizable difference in your operating revenue to continue to make more things for that.
Now, the good news is that we found that the things that motivate people are tentpoles, right? So launch is a tentpole. Even when we put out Romeo and Juliet, last year's live stream, which was a big tentpole, we saw a big spike in subscribers. And that was people being like, all right, I wanted to check this out. This put me over the edge. That's exciting. And we have a lot of tentpoles coming up. We have the Try Guys 10-year anniversary special.
Oh, yeah. I saw that on the calendar. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be sick.
We'll still have Without a Recipe live in December. We have a great season of Without a Recipe that's going to be dropped in 3 episode at a time binge model, which we've never done. And the entire season is bracket style. So people get kicked out.
It's going to be
people
so
lose and they're done.
Yeah.
So there's so much more stakes. Now it is like it's a season of a show rather than, or it's what was it called? Like the serialized. So it has like, it's really important to watch every episode in order now because there are stakes.
Still works as standalones, but so much better when you watch the story. So those are the things we've learned. Those are the things we've gotten wrong. The last thing I'll add is that I still can't believe how buttery these Ritz crackers are.
They really have that butter factor, Zach.
Yeah, they've got that after school special.
They've got that good. I'm going to go in for another bite, and I will say, add a little ham, a little cheese in there.
Yeah, it's got to be cheddar.
Oh, make your own Lunchables.
It's got to be cheddar.
Yeah.
By the way, cheese in general, it's got to be cheddar.
I love cheddar. We don't talk about it. It's the standardized because it's the best.
It's the best. It's
gotta be cheddar.
It's gotta be.
What about an aged Gouda?
I'll take a Gouda. Gouda was my favorite cheese when I was a kid. It was a sort of luxury snack. Every once in a while on my birthday, my mom would get me some goat Gouda.
That's so cute.
Not brie?
No, not brie. Too soft.
Goat Gouda is probably pretty soft.
It's soft, but it's not as soft as brie.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, my treat cheese was drunken goat.
Ooh.
Oh, the wine
Really
goat.
good.
That's good.
It's
Is
a red
brie
wine
the
brine.
only cheese name that's also a person name? Except for Chester, Cheddar, Cheetos?
Honestly, cheddar bonsignore is kind of
Swiss is a last name sometimes, right? Swiss.
Family Robinson.
Yep.
Mm.
What other
Bonsignore.
cheese
Baby
names
Bell.
are there?
Feta would be cute.
Feta bonsignore.
Bell, but that's a brand.
For a girl.
Feta toll.
Feta toll.
That's pretty
It's
good.
my favorite cheese. Yeah.
Feta is a good name, honestly.
Yeah, I like feta. It's very pretty. It's
Short
very
for
feminine.
fettucci.
Huh?
It's like short for something. It's got to be fettuccine.
Provolone.
Fettuccine. Provolone.
Fetabel?
Provolone.
Provolone is such a funny name.
It's a
for a
gorgeous
dog.
name.
Provolone.
Come on, provolone. Provo.
Come on, Provi. Provost.
Well, those are the things that we got wrong. We assume we're going to get a lot more wrong.
Comment below other things they did wrong.
I mean, but yeah,
we'll keep learning.
It is always learning. Every single week is fixing something that we're not doing as well as we could to try to do it better. Both things that you'll never see reflected and things that like are very apparent. But like, there's just we're always trying to make a better oiled machine that, and also not only that we can do better work, but do better work faster and more efficiently and fun. We want everyone to have fun. We have the luxury of having, like, we make fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Right? Like we have fun. Like it's a job, it's work. There are times where it's not fun, but it's more often fun than not.
This is the most fun time we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm having a blast.
That's good to hear.
Just want to keep saying that for the record. Life
Hell
is
yeah.
good.
Life is good. It's a
Life
fun
is
summer.
good.
Life
Going
is
on
Gucci.
tour.
We're going on
Going
tour.
on a freaking tour. I can't wait to see people
By the time this comes out, we might be like
on tour.
like ready. We're
Yeah.
like, dang.
Yeah, because it's coming up fast.
Yeah, it's only a few weeks away. I know. I'm dialed in now. I'm like making little sound cue libraries. I'm really in it now. That's my next couple weeks is going to be. I'm just gonna kind of be very focused on that.
Hell yeah.
Well, if you're making mistakes like us, you probably
need some advice.
You must.
Yeah,
you must need some.
You must need. I
Oh,
wish
yeah.
we had somebody who could help
Well,
you out.
what do you
but
do?
You definitely got someone.
You gotta. I don't know if we do. So I guess this will be the first.
No, you
episode
gotta ask
where-
somebody
Oh,
probably.
do you have a suggestion of
I
somebody?
think I have an idea. Somebody. who could
Okay,
probably
take it away. You tell me who you think would be good.
Not to go for miles.
It's advice that'll go for miles. Tune it to your radio station. It's advice that'll go for miles. Everyone get ready, Miles Nation. Miles Nation, go. It's advice that'll go for miles. Advice that'll go for miles.
Hey.
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 What the fuck is up, Miles Nation? How's everybody doing tonight? Daddy's got some advice. And he's here to give you that goody two shoes goodness. I had a problem the other day where I was feeling frumpy.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Frumpy Dumpy and Stinker.
Frumpy Stiltskin.
Frumpy Dumpy and Stinker walk into a bar. The bartenders say, probably not. So guess what I did?
What'd you do?
I've got a little wisdom that's going to make you fancy to see if you're trying to get laid to be.
Oh.
If you want to be hot, you're going to need that steam. I steamed my shorts.
Shorts.
I steamed, not these ones.
I can tell.
That's enough out of you. I steamed my green shorts recently. Was about to run out of the door because after I was done with my shorts once, I already had my way with them. Tossed them on the ground, and they were wrinkly, but they weren't dirty. I just wore
Right.
them once.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not finna wash shorts. I'm not finna or gonna wash my shorts again after one use.
Of course.
So I pop those puppies back on my legs, realize these puppies are wrinkled as fuck.
yeah.
So I took out a steamer that I had gotten from the grocery store.
Yeah.
Was it a veggie steamer or
It's vegetables.
it was like one of those
I
bamboo
put my shorts on the
baskets?
stove in a steamer basket.
Would that
That
work?
is a funny. Honestly,
Would that
that's
work?
funny.
Yeah, of course it
It's a
would.
funny
Not
idea.
well, but you could stretch this. It would.
Yeah.
Now
you
they
would-
smell like broccoli. No,
Yum.
and I took my shorts and I steamed them up, and I steamed my t-shirt as well.
Nice.
And I was like,
I bet you looked fresh.
I was like, dang, this like look was gonna be sort of frump style, and now it's bump style. As in
Miles
people want to
beat it
do
different.
a bump off of my rump.
Oh, we don't joke about that.
Oh, we don't joke about that. So yeah,
I love this advice.
steam those shorties. And by the way, this is a tip that I heard that I probably have given an advice as before. And if it breaks your dryer, don't at me. But put a piece of ice cube in your dryer with your shirt.
You've given that advice before, but I like it. Yeah. And a lot of dryers now have steam refresh settings,
That
so
too.
you can just freaking do that.
You can do that too.
I steamed a shirt the other day. Felt really good about it. And then I saw Maggie go to steam something. And she steams from the inside.
I'll say the steamer was actually a
They're cheap.
Do you have
Originally-
like the iron, or we're talking steamer?
It's a solo steamer. I want to say that it actually originally was a birthday present. Sarah was like, check out this fucking steamer. How cool would it be if we had a steamer? And on her birthday, amongst other things, I didn't just get my wife a steamer.
Of course.
But it was one of many things I got her, and I got her the steamer. And then we were like, this is so awesome. Then I lost it, had to replace it. So
You lost.
I
a
brought it to a
steamer?
merch shoot that I was steaming my merch, and then I lost it. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I have to get another
I've
steamer.
absolutely lost 3 steamers to this company.
Yeah, I know. And it was like, it's probably
That's where I got all those
it's like-
Yeah, I
steamers.
think you took one. I know you took one of them.
No,
It's
I
like
didn't.
I
the
think
price
you did, but
of
I didn't
an
care.
iron.
They're $15.
No way I stole a steamer.
I think
You're
you might have.
stealing steamers.
I think I might have left it in your car, and then you were like,
There's no way.
3 months went by, and you're like, this must be mine.
But it's the price of a
This was
iron.
years ago.
If not
It's-
less
I'm
than
He's
that.
past-
holding on to
I'm
this. You
past
see
it.
I
this?
could tell he's
I
mad
bet
about
it's
it.
fine.
But it's the price of an iron.
This is how CEOs break up.
Yeah,
Next
I know.
time, I kind of want you guys to fight on air.
That'd be interesting.
real.
That'd be
I'm
really
gonna-
interesting.
yeah.
Like box or
That'd be
like
interesting.
Oh, with your words. I feel
I've
like
seen- I've seen
that'll
them
grow
box.
views big time.
I saw you guys box one
yeah.
time.
Yeah, the audience
it was,
didn't like
it was
that.
pathetic.
Yeah. An emotionally charged day.
I wasn't allowed to punch. I wasn't allowed to punch Zach's face, but I couldn't reach any other part of him from all the way up here, so it was not fair. I just got pummeled in the belly all day long.
I agree with Keith.
Anyway, check out your local store. First steamer.
First steamer.
First steamer.
Steamer.
Well, hey guys, thanks for listening to our mistakes. And also, if you're listening to this episode with ads,
You.
what are you doing? Because obviously we have the tripod over on Second Try, but also we have a Patreon.
Yeah.
A Patreon for
big,
all of
big-
our podcasts.
all
A
the
Try
podcasts.
podcast. You got us. You can sit with us. Guilty pleasures. And what the reason that we have a Patreon for that is because it's a great audio experience. You can have it integrated into your Spotify. So if that's something you want, go on over and get it. You're going to get all the episodes for every show a day early. Keith, hit us with the official Tripod theme song.
My shirt smells like broccoli, and my shorts smell like spaghetti.
Boom, boom.
I've been cooking my clothes and wearing them out. Cooking my clothes is the tripod.
Boom, boom, boom,
Wow,
boom.
that was gorgeous. That was
good.
gorgeous. Have a good ass week.